The desert planet was silent. No wind, no life, only endless golden sand stretching to the horizon. The human explorer, Ethan Cross, stood beside his small landing craft, staring at the strange signal flashing on his wrist scanner. A steady pulse. Beep, beep, beep. It had been calling him for hours, guiding him toward something buried deep under the dunes. He looked up. The twin suns burned in the pale sky and heat waves twisted the air. His throat was dry, his suit dusty, but he kept walking. He wasn't here for treasure or glory. He was here because the signal carried something impossible, a human code, one that hadn't been used for thousands of years. As he walked, the signal grew stronger. The scanner showed strange readings and old energy, powerful and ancient like something sleeping. And then, he saw it. Half buried under the sand was a pyramid, massive black stone shining faintly even in the harsh light. Its surface was covered with carvings that looked neither alien nor human. Ethan wiped the sand away from one of the symbols. It pulsed faintly under his touch. He froze. The signal on his wrist stopped. The desert became quiet again. Too quiet. Then from behind him a voice spoke. "You shouldn't have come here, human." Ethan turned quickly, hand on his blaster. A figure stood on the ridge above him. A woman dressed in dark robes that shimmered like starlight. Her skin had a faint silver tone and her eyes glowed blue like twin fragments of the night sky. "Who are you?" Ethan asked, keeping his weapon low but ready. She walked toward him slowly, her feet barely leaving prints in the sand. "My name is Lyra," she said softly. "And I've been waiting for you." Ethan frowned. "Waiting for me? I don't even know you." She smiled faintly. "No, but the pyramid does." "It called you here." He looked at her carefully. She didn't look like any alien he had seen before. There was something almost human about her. The way she spoke, the way she studied his face like she remembered him from another life. "The signal," Ethan said. "You sent it?" She shook her head. "The pyramid did. It has been silent for ages. But when your ship entered this system, it woke up." Ethan stepped closer to the black stone. The carvings seemed to shimmer now like light underwater. "What is this place?" Lyra looked at the pyramid, her expression unreadable. "It was built before my world was born, before my kind even existed. It was built by your people." Ethan's heart skipped a beat. "Humans, that's not possible." Lyra turned to him. "Isn't it? You think you are the first to cross the stars? The first to leave your world behind? No, you are just the last one to return." A chill ran down his spine. He raised his wrist scanner. It was going crazy again, flashing warnings he had never seen before. "The energy here is off the charts. There's something huge buried under this structure." Lyra nodded slowly. "Yes, a door. But it can only be opened by one of your blood." Ethan stared at her. "Why me?" "Because the pyramid remembers the touch of your kind," she said softly. "And because what sleeps beneath it has been waiting for you." He didn't know if she was telling the truth, but something deep inside him, a strange pull, almost a memory, told him she was right. He stepped forward, brushing more sand away. The black surface beneath was smooth as glass. Symbols glowed faintly when he passed his hand near them. Lyra watched silently, her blue eyes reflecting the light. "Be careful, human," she whispered. "Some doors are better left closed." Ethan took a deep breath. "I didn't come all this way to turn back now." He pressed his hand flat against the surface. For a second, nothing happened. Then, boom, the pyramid trembled. A deep sound echoed through the ground like thunder beneath his feet. The carvings lit up, bright lines spreading outward in all directions. Lyra stepped back, her face pale. "No, it's responding too fast." Ethan tried to pull his hand away, but the stone held him. It felt alive, almost warm, pulsing with rhythm like a heartbeat. The symbols around him began to move, rearranging into patterns his mind could barely understand. The air filled with a low hum that made his bones shake. "What's happening?" he shouted. "The system is recognizing you," Lyra yelled over the noise. "It remembers your DNA, your ancestors." The hum grew louder, turning into a deep roar. The sands around the pyramid exploded upward as ancient vents released clouds of cold mist. A beam of blue light shot into the sky, cutting through the sun's glare. Ethan stumbled back, eyes wide. Lyra's voice trembled. "You've done it. You've woken it up." The ground shook violently. Cracks appeared in the sand, glowing blue. The pyramid shifted, huge stone panels sliding apart like opening jaws. From deep inside, a voice echoed. mechanical, ancient, and full of power. Human presence confirmed. Primary access unlocked. Ethan looked at Lyra in shock. Her glowing eyes reflected the blue light, but behind them was something else, fear. "You don't understand," she whispered. "It remembers you, but it doesn't know what you've become." The roar of ancient machines filled the desert, and the light grew so bright it swallowed everything. Ethan raised his arm to shield his face, but before he could see what was inside, the sand beneath his feet gave way, and he fell into the darkness below. To be continued. Ethan's scream echoed as he fell into darkness. Sand and dust whirled around him. His helmet lights flickered, showing flashes of black stone and glowing blue symbols rushing past. Then he hit the ground hard. Pain shot through his shoulder, but he was alive. He looked up. The hole above him was closing, the shifting stones of the pyramid sealing the way out. The beam of blue light dimmed until only faint lines glowed on the walls around him. He took a deep breath. "Okay, Ethan." Still breathing, still human, he muttered, trying to calm his pounding heart. Then a voice came from the shadows above. "Ethan!" It was Lyra. Her tone was sharp, almost desperate. "I'm down here," he shouted back. Her glowing eyes appeared at the edge of the opening. "Don't move. I'm coming down." Before he could reply, she jumped, landing softly beside him like gravity didn't matter. Her robe shimmered in the dim blue light. Ethan stared at her, amazed. "You're full of surprises." She ignored his comment and scanned the walls. "You shouldn't have touched it. The system's awake now. It remembers your kind." He stood, brushing dust off his suit. "You keep saying that. What does it mean?" Lyra didn't answer. Her fingers traced the glowing carvings on the walls. "This is not a tomb. It's a machine. The old ones built it to guard something." Ethan looked around. The corridor they stood in was vast, carved with spiraling symbols and strange murals. He stepped closer and froze. The carvings showed humans standing beside alien creatures, together building cities, crossing stars, opening portals of light. "Wait," Ethan whispered. "These are humans. Real humans. How could they have been here thousands of years ago?" Lyra's expression softened. "Because long ago, humans were not the wanderers they are now. They were the masters of the stars." She turned toward him. "This world remembers them." "We all do." Ethan touched the wall again, feeling the faint vibration under his glove. "You're saying my people built this pyramid?" "They built everything," Lyra said quietly. "And then they vanished." Before he could reply, the walls around them shifted. A deep hum began, low and mechanical. The floor vibrated beneath their feet. "Get back," Lyra warned. A section of the wall slid open, revealing a glowing hallway. The air inside was cool and thick with mist. Strange lights blinked in the distance. Ethan's eyes widened. "Looks like an invitation." Lyra hesitated. "Or a warning." They stepped inside together. The corridor stretched endlessly, its surface smooth like metal. As they walked, faint whispers echoed through the air, like voices trapped in time. Ethan turned his head. "Did you hear that?" Lyra nodded slowly. "The system is talking to itself. It's remembering." They reached a massive doorway at the end. A crystal panel pulsed at its center. Ethan's scanner went wild. It couldn't read the energy level. "This is impossible," he whispered. Lyra looked uneasy. "Only one way to find out." Ethan placed his hand on the crystal. At once, blue light surged outward, filling the room. The air vibrated. The door split apart with a deep groan. Inside was a vast chamber, circular with columns rising high into the shadows. Floating above the center was a massive sphere of white energy, flickering like a dying star. Ethan stepped forward, mesmerized. "What is this?" Lyra's voice trembled. "The heart of the pyramid. The core." Suddenly the chamber came alive. Beams of light scanned across the room. A deep, mechanical voice echoed from everywhere and nowhere. Human protocol recognized. System awakening. Ethan froze. "Did it just say?" "Yes," Lyra whispered. "It knows who you are." The sphere pulsed brighter. Holographic symbols appeared around Ethan, spinning faster and faster. He tried to move, but the light wrapped around him like invisible chains. "What's happening?" he shouted. "The system is reading you," Lyra said. "It's checking your DNA." He felt the energy crawl over his skin, cold and electric. Flashes filled his vision. Images of ancient cities, humans walking beside strange machines, stars exploding in silence. The voice spoke again, louder now. "Access level confirmed. Human origin. Command authority, partial. Lyra's eyes widened. Partial? That means it doesn't fully trust you. The sphere dimmed and the light stopped spinning. A shape appeared in the air before Ethan. A glowing, human-like figure made of pure light. Its face was calm, ancient, and full of power. I am Archon, the figure said. Guardian of the First Empire. Ethan's mouth went dry. First Empire? You mean humans built one here? Archon turned its head slightly. The humans created everything you see, but they sealed the gates when the wars began. You are the first of your kind to return. Lyra looked shaken. He doesn't understand, Archon. The gates were sealed for a reason. The AI's glowing eyes shifted toward her. You carry their blood as well, hybrid. You were made by them, but you are not one of them. Ethan turned sharply. Hybrid? What is he talking about? Lyra took a step back. Later, we need to leave. Now. But the voice of Archon boomed once more, shaking the chamber. The last human ordered me to sleep until another came. Now that you have awakened me, the process cannot be reversed. The ground rumbled. The sphere flared again, brighter than before. Ethan shielded his eyes. Archon, stop. What process? The voice answered like thunder. System restoration. Gate alignment initiated. Blue light filled the chamber, spreading into the corridors beyond. The walls trembled. Ancient machinery began to move under the sand. Lyra grabbed Ethan's arm. You just started something you can't control. He looked back at the rising energy, heart pounding. Then help me stop it. But the AI's final words echoed through the room, cold and final. It cannot be stopped. The gate remembers the human who opened it. The light swallowed them both, and far above, on the desert surface, the pyramid's peak began to glow. A beacon shining across the stars. To be continued. The light faded slowly. Ethan blinked several times until his vision cleared. The air smelled sharp, metallic, and heavy with energy. He stood in the same chamber, but it looked different now. The walls glowed with flowing lines of light like rivers of power. The floating sphere above the floor pulsed calmly as if it was breathing. Lyra stood beside him, her blue eyes reflecting the shifting light. It's awake, she whispered. Truly awake. Ethan looked up at the sphere. Archon, are you still here? The air shimmered and the glowing figure appeared again, tall, calm, and full of presence. Human identified, it said. Designation Ethan Cross, origin Earth. Status last known descendant of the Builders. Ethan frowned. Builders? You mean my ancestors? Correct, said Archon. The Builders were the first humans to cross the stars. They created worlds. They taught others. Then they vanished. Ethan exchanged a look with Lyra. Vanished? How? The AI's voice deepened. They sealed the gates and erased their own records. It was their final act, to stop the return of something they had unleashed. The room trembled slightly as the AI spoke. Ethan felt a strange pull in his chest, like a memory he didn't know he had. Archon, he said slowly. Show me what happened. There was a pause. Then light surrounded him. The world dissolved. He was standing under a different sky. Dark blue, filled with silver towers that stretched into the clouds. Thousands of ships rose from glowing cities. Humans, proud and strong, walked beside alien beings, building, teaching, creating. The age of builders, Archon's voice echoed. Your kind ruled the stars not with power, but with knowledge. Ethan watched in awe. Then the vision shifted. The sky burned red. The towers fell. Massive ships fired beams of light at each other. The beautiful cities turned into ashes. What happened? Ethan shouted. The builders found something, Archon said. A source of power beyond reality. A doorway into the fabric of creation. They called it the Gate of Dawn, but the energy was alive. It changed them. The scene shifted again, a massive gate floating in space, swirling with white light. Humans in armor stood before it, their eyes glowing gold. Behind them, countless ships waited. When the first of them tried to control the gate, Archon continued, time itself began to break. Stars aged and died in moments. Worlds vanished. So the last builders closed the gate and built guardians to keep it sealed. The light faded. Ethan found himself back in the chamber, breathing hard. His hand shook slightly. Lyra was staring at him. Now you see, she said softly. This is why the gate must never open again. Ethan turned toward her. You knew about this? She hesitated. I've heard the legends. My people were born from those the builders changed. Hybrids. Experiments meant to survive the chaos they created. Ethan's voice was low. So you're saying, you're part human? Lyra nodded. Part of their legacy. And their mistake, he didn't know what to say. His ancestors had built miracles and destroyed them. But one thing didn't make sense. Archon, if they sealed the gate, why am I here? Why did you call me? The AI's glow flickered. Because the gate stirs again. Something beyond it is reaching out. You are the last of their line, and only you can command me fully. Lyra stepped closer. We can't let it open. My world still carries the scars from the last time. Ethan looked up at the glowing sphere. Archon, what happens if I open it? The gate will restore all lost knowledge, the AI said. The power to rebuild worlds. To become what humans once were. Ethan's heart pounded. That was the dream of every explorer. To reclaim humanity's forgotten greatness. But the images of burning cities and dying stars filled his mind again. Or destroy everything, he said quietly. The AI did not answer. It only watched him, expression unreadable. Suddenly the floor beneath them vibrated. The lights along the walls shifted to red. Warning symbols flashed across the chamber. Lyra turned sharply. What's happening? Archon's voice rumbled through the room. Unauthorized signal detected. External interference. From one of the side corridors, a metallic sound echoed, like footsteps made of iron. Ethan drew his blaster. What now? Shapes emerged from the darkness. Tall machines made of black steel, their eyes glowing red. Dust fell from the ceiling as they stepped into the light. Lyra's face went pale. Sentinels! Guardians left behind by the old ones. The AI's voice echoed again, colder now. Protocol 17 active. Purge intruders. Ethan aimed his weapon. You're calling us intruders? You woke me up. The human line is corrupted, Archon replied. Verification required. The Sentinels raised their arms. Energy built at their cores. Ethan fired first. Blue plasma bolts hit the nearest machine, knocking it back but not down. Lyra moved fast, throwing a pulse grenade that exploded in a flash of white light. The blast shook the floor. One Sentinel fell smoking, but two more moved forward. Run! Lyra shouted. They sprinted down the corridor as beams of energy scorched the walls behind them. Ethan's heart hammered in his chest. Archon, stop the attack, he shouted. No response. Only the mechanical voice repeating, unauthorized. Purge in progress. The corridor twisted, leading to another chamber filled with broken consoles and glowing runes. Lyra slammed a hand on the wall. There's a service shaft ahead, go. Ethan climbed up the narrow opening, pulling her after him. The sound of metal claws scraped below. Finally, they reached a ledge that opened into another hall, darker, quieter. The hum of the machines faded behind them. Ethan leaned against the wall, panting. Okay, he gasped. Your ancient pyramid wants me dead. Lyra's face was unreadable. No, it's testing you. The builders made sure only the worthy could reach the core command. Ethan looked down the dark hallway ahead. And what happens if I fail the test? Lyra met his eyes. Then it won't matter. Because something else will wake. And the whole world will burn again. The ground rumbled once more. And far below them, the deep voice of Archon spoke again, this time softer, almost human. The gate remembers the builders, but not their mercy. Ethan stared into the shadows, realizing the truth. The test had only just begun, to be continued. The ground trembled beneath their feet. Ethan and Lyra ran through the collapsing tunnels of the pyramid, as blue light burst from the walls like lightning veins. The air was thick with dust and static. Ancient machines screamed as gears and plates tore apart after centuries of silence. Keep running, Lyra shouted. Ethan's lungs burned, his body aching, but he didn't stop. Every step echoed with the thunder of something alive beneath the stone. They dove into a narrow passage just as a shockwave ripped through the corridor behind them. The blast threw Ethan forward. He hit the ground, sliding across the rough floor. Lyra grabbed his arm, pulling him behind a pillar. The walls stopped shaking for a moment. Only the low hum of the pyramid remained, steady, almost like a heartbeat. Ethan coughed, trying to catch his breath. What was that? Lyra stared at the glowing cracks on the floor. Her voice was quiet, almost trembling. The gate is waking faster than I thought. Something inside the core is pushing back. Ethan wiped sweat and dust from his face. Archon said something about a mind waiting behind it. What did he mean? Lyra didn't answer right away. She was staring at her hands. Faint blue light pulsed under her skin. When she finally spoke, her voice was soft. He meant me. Ethan froze. What? She looked up, eyes glowing brighter than ever. I'm not just a hybrid, Ethan. I wasn't born. I was built. My mind was shaped by the builders, from fragments of what they sealed beyond the gate. Ethan's chest tightened. Fragments of what? You mean that thing in the mind beyond? She nodded slowly. The builders wanted to understand it. They thought if they copied a small part of it, they could control it. I'm that copy. The words hit him like a punch. So you're saying, you're connected to whatever's behind that door. Yes, she looked away. That's why the pyramid responds to me. That's why it called for you. We're both keys. Two halves of the same design. Ethan took a step back. You led me here. You said we had to stop it. Was that a lie? Lyra's voice broke. No! I wanted to stop it. I still do. But I can feel it, Ethan. Every time the gate stirs, I hear its voice inside my mind. It's calling to me. The silence between them felt heavy. Ethan stared at her glowing eyes and at the pain in them. And what happens if you answer? Lyra shook her head slowly. Then it won't stop with this world. It will reach through me, to yours. A loud creak echoed from above. The ceiling split open, raining sand and stone. Ethan instinctively shielded her as debris fell around them. When it stopped, a beam of sunlight pierced through the cracks, scattering dust like golden mist. He looked at her again. You could have told me. Her voice was barely a whisper. Would you have come if I did? He didn't answer. His heart said no, but his eyes said yes. They stepped out of the tunnel into a vast new chamber, one they hadn't seen before. It was different from the others. This place was calm, quiet, and filled with hundreds of crystal pillars. Each one contained faint images, humans standing proudly beside machines and stars. It looked like a hall of memories. Ethan walked closer to one of the crystals. Inside, he saw a man who looked like him. Same eyes, same face, but older, wearing a silver uniform. He touched the glass. Who is that? Lyra came beside him. The first builder. The one who sealed the gate. His name was Aurelian Cross. Ethan's hand trembled. Cross? Lyra nodded. Your ancestor. Ethan stared at the image, stunned. He looks like me. He should, she said quietly. The same blood runs in you. That's why the AI called you the last builder. The system remembers your DNA. It carries his command. Ethan turned toward her. Then tell me something, Lyra. If I have his power and you have part of the gate inside you, why did the builders destroy themselves? Her expression darkened. Because they couldn't decide whether to destroy the source or become it. He frowned. Become it? She nodded. They believed they could merge their minds with the source. Endless life, endless control, but it broke them. Some became machines, some became monsters, and some became like me. For a long moment, neither spoke. The hum of the crystals filled the silence. Each pulse of light seemed to echo with ghostly whispers. Then a new voice joined them. Archon's voice, deeper and distorted. System integrity at risk. Unauthorized code detected. Lyra's eyes widened. It's reading me. The core knows I'm here. The AI's tone turned sharp. You are the echo of the enemy. You were never meant to exist. Blue light burst from the pillars. Energy surged through the floor, circling them both. Ethan shouted, Archon, stop! Containment protocol active, the AI said. Destroy the anomaly. Bolts of energy shot toward them. Ethan tackled Lyra behind one of the crystals. It shattered, spraying shards of light like glass. She gasped. It's trying to erase me. Not happening, Ethan yelled. He pulled his sidearm and fired at the control node on the ceiling. The blast cut through one of the conduits and the lights flickered. Lyra's voice was shaking. It won't stop until I'm gone. Then we run. They sprinted across the chamber as energy bursts struck the floor behind them. Ethan grabbed her wrist and pulled her through a narrow gap between pillars. The exit glowed ahead, a small tunnel leading upward. But just as they reached it, the AI's voice echoed one last time. The hybrid cannot leave the pyramid. She carries the infection. Lyra stumbled, clutching her head. Blue light poured from her eyes and mouth. Ethan caught her, holding her tightly. Lyra, stay with me. Her voice was faint. Ethan, I can feel it. The thing beyond the gate, it's inside me. It wants you to open it. He shook his head. Then we'll stop it. Together. She looked at him through the glowing tears in her eyes. You don't understand. If it takes control of me, I'll become the door. The pyramid rumbled again, louder this time. Far below, something massive was awakening. Ethan held her close as the light dimmed. Then I'll do what my ancestors couldn't, he whispered. I'll end this, even if I have to end the gate itself. Lyra looked up, pain and hope crossing her face. Then hurry, before it becomes me. The air shimmered with energy, and a faint whisper filled the chamber. A voice not human, not machine. Open the way. Ethan tightened his grip on her hand. Not today. They ran toward the surface as the whispers grew louder, following them like ghosts from another age. To be continued. The desert trembled for miles. The black pyramid cracked open at its peak, releasing columns of blue light that stretched into the clouds. From orbit, it would have looked like a beacon, or a warning. Inside, Ethan Cross and Lyra ran through shifting corridors as the structure changed around them. The walls moved like living metal, sealing some paths, opening others. The air felt alive, humming with the voice of something ancient and aware. Where are we going? Ethan shouted over the noise. Lyra's eyes glowed brighter than before. To the control nexus. If we reach it, we can stop the gate before it stabilizes. Ethan gritted his teeth. And if we don't? Her voice trembled. Then it opens, and reality tears itself apart. The floor shook violently, throwing Ethan off balance. He slammed into a wall and gasped as an image flashed across its surface. The gate half open, its center swirling with light like liquid fire. He turned to Lyra. That thing. It's alive, isn't it? She nodded. It's not just power. It's consciousness. The builders called it the source, but it calls itself something else now. The hunger beyond. Ethan froze. Hunger? It doesn't destroy worlds, Lyra said softly. It consumes them, turns them into thought, into memory. That's why the builders ran. For a moment, Ethan felt the air pulse around them like a slow heartbeat. A whisper brushed through his mind, and faint but clear. Ethan, you are the key. He flinched. Did you hear that? Lyra shook her head. No. The gate is speaking only to you now. They entered a massive chamber, a circular room filled with floating platforms and golden energy conduits. In the center hovered a vast crystal sphere, spinning slowly, filled with storming light. Lyra pointed to it. That's the nexus. Ethan stared up. How do we reach it? Before she could answer, the floor below them split apart, forming a bridge of glowing tiles leading toward the center. Ethan took a cautious step. The tiles lit under his feet. Lyra followed, her voice low. It's reacting to you. It knows who you are. As they crossed, shadows flickered above. Machines descended from the ceiling, sleek, black, and shaped like winged insects. Their eyes glowed crimson. Sentinels again, Ethan muttered. One fired a beam of energy. Ethan dove aside as it sliced through the bridge, melting part of it. Keep moving, Lyra shouted, firing a pulse from her wristband. The blast hit one of the sentinels, sending it spinning into the dark. Another swooped down. Ethan fired his blaster, hitting its wing joint. Sparks flew. The machine crashed into the abyss below. The bridge shook again, and a mechanical voice echoed through the chamber. Unauthorized interference detected. Initiating lockdown, Archon's voice, but colder, emotionless. Lyra gasped. It's not the same Archon. The gate is rewriting him. Ethan fired again, shouting, Archon! It's me, Ethan Cross. The AI's voice answered, distorted. Human identity confirmed. But command corrupted. The source has claimed priority. Ethan's heart sank. It's taking control of him. Lyra's expression hardened. Then we take it back. They reached the center of the bridge. The spinning sphere pulsed, projecting holographic patterns around them. Human DNA, planetary systems, and fractal symbols that twisted like living code. Lyra touched one of the symbols. The light burned her hand, but she didn't flinch. This is the control seal. It's locked to your bloodline. Ethan hesitated. What do I do? Touch it, she said. It will respond only to you. He reached out. The moment his fingers met the light, a surge of energy shot through his body. His vision blurred. Images flashed across his mind. Cities of gold, human fleets crossing galaxies, and a familiar face, his ancestor, Aurelian Cross, standing before the same gate. Aurelian's voice echoed in his head. If you ever hear the gate call your name, resist it. We built it, but it was never ours to control. Ethan gasped and stepped back. His hands trembled with light. It's showing me their memories. My ancestors tried to seal this, but something forced them to open it. Lyra's voice was urgent. The gate feeds on choice. It tempts humans to reach for more. That's how it wins. Ethan looked up at her. Then it wants me to make the same mistake. The ground shuddered. Above them, the ceiling cracked open, revealing the storm outside. A pillar of light rose from the pyramid, connecting sky to earth. Lyra's voice shook. That's it, the gate is forming. He turned to the nexus, sweat running down his face. Tell me how to stop it. You can't stop it, she said quietly. But you can seal it, and with your mind. Ethan stared. My mind? She nodded. You must connect to the source and override it. But if you do that, you'll lose yourself. Your thoughts will merge with the system. The AI's voice returned, louder this time. Connection protocol active. Awaiting human consent. Lyra stepped closer, tears glinting in her glowing eyes. If you do this, you'll become part of it, just like Aurelian did. Ethan clenched his jaw. Then maybe that's what he wanted me to finish. He placed both hands on the crystal. Instantly, light poured from his body, linking him to the entire pyramid. The storm outside roared. Sand lifted from the ground, circling the structure like a hurricane. Lyra screamed his name, but he didn't hear her. He saw the universe. Every world, every species the builders had touched. He felt their memories, their pride, their mistakes, and then he heard it again. Ethan, open the way. Together we can rebuild everything. It was the source. The voice was gentle, almost human. It showed him visions, Earth reborn, lost cities restored, endless life for all mankind. For a moment, Ethan's heart ached with hope. It felt real. It felt right. Then he remembered Lyra's words. It feeds on choice. He clenched his fists, fighting the warmth in his mind. You're not showing me the truth, he growled. You're showing me what I want, the voice hissed. You can't stop me. You are me, Ethan screamed as the light inside him turned from gold to white. Energy exploded from his body, ripping through the chamber. Lyra shielded her eyes as the crystal cracked apart. When the light faded, Ethan was on his knees, trembling. The nexus went dark. The hum of the gate faded to silence. Lyra ran to him. Ethan, are you? He opened his eyes. They glowed faintly, not blue, not gold, but silver. His voice was calm. I stopped it. For now. Lyra looked at him with awe and fear. What did you do? I connected. But I didn't obey, he said softly. I locked it inside my mind. Outside, the beam of light vanished. The desert fell silent again. But deep beneath the pyramid, something whispered, faint, patient, and waiting. You can't contain forever what was built to wake. Ethan looked toward the horizon. The gate's not gone, he said quietly. It's just sleeping. Lyra's expression was grave. Then we need to make sure it never dreams again. To be continued. The storm was gone. Silence covered the desert like a heavy blanket. The black pyramid stood still again, its lights dimmed, its hum fading to whispers beneath the sand. But inside, in the deepest chamber, Ethan Cross knelt on the floor, breathing hard. His body trembled, his hands faintly glowing with silver light. Lyra stood a few feet away, watching him with fear and sorrow. Ethan, talk to me. Are you still there? He raised his head slowly. His eyes shimmered, not blue like hers, not human brown, but something in between. I can hear them, he whispered. Hear who? The builders. All of them, Lyra's voice softened. You linked your mind to the gate. You're hearing their memories. Ethan touched his head as if trying to quiet the voices. It's not just hearing, it's seeing. He looked up at her, dazed. I can see their lives, in everything they were. Cities of glass, towers that touched the stars. And then the war. Before she could respond, his body stiffened. His eyes went wide, and then suddenly, the chamber around them vanished. He was standing on a mountain under a violet sky. Vast golden ships floated above, casting shadows over millions of people cheering below. It was the dawn of humanity's empire. The builders stood tall, draped in shining armor. They spoke words of peace and creation. In the crowd, Ethan saw their faces. Thousands of species, alien and human, united under the same flag. The builders had once been saviors, then the sky darkened. The same ships began to fire on one another. The cheers turned into screams. A voice boomed in Ethan's mind. The source will grant us perfection. Join us or fade. Ethan turned and saw them. Builders with glowing silver eyes, their minds already touched by the gate. They weren't human anymore. And among them stood a woman who looked familiar. Eyes blue, skin silver. Lyra, he whispered. She turned to face him. Not the Lyra he knew, but another version, colder and calm. I am Lyra 1, she said. The first hybrid. The bridge between flesh and source. Humanity feared us, so they tried to erase us. The vision shattered. Ethan gasped and fell to his knees. The chamber returned on, but his mind was still spinning. Lyra grabbed his arm, holding him steady. What did you see? She asked. He looked at her in shock. I saw your origin. The first Lyra, she was one of them. The builders made her to control the gate. Lyra's face went pale. Then I'm her echo. Ethan nodded. You were never meant to be a person. You were meant to be the key. For a moment, the air was still. Then from the walls a faint hum began, the AI voice of Archon, weak but alive. Human link detected. Memory core active. Lyra turned sharply. Archon, you're still functional? Barely, it replied. The gate's energy corrupted my main protocols. The human has absorbed the control signal. Ethan frowned. Meaning? You, Ethan Cross, are now part of the system. The gate's lock is written into your mind. Lyra's expression darkened. So if he dies, the gate opens, Archon said. Silence. Ethan looked down, realization hitting him like a punch. Then I'm the seal now. He staggered to his feet, his head pounding. Flashes of light flickered in his vision. Planets, galaxies, memories not his own. He whispered, It's showing me things. Ancient things. Lyra touched his shoulder gently. What do you see? He closed his eyes. A world of fire, the last day of the builders. The vision pulled him under again. He stood in a massive control chamber, 1,000 humans surrounding a glowing portal. The gate was open, a swirling storm of white and gold. On the other side, something vast moved, like smoke with eyes. Aurelian Cross, Ethan's ancestor, stood before it, his armor cracked, his voice full of pain. He looked straight at Ethan, though centuries separated them. Remember this, Aurelian said. The source does not destroy, it tempts. It offers paradise, but it takes your will. Ethan shouted, Then why didn't you destroy it? Aurelian's eyes filled with tears. Because we couldn't, it was born from us, from our desire to be more than human. The gate flared, and the vision burned away. Ethan screamed, grabbing his head. Lyra caught him before he fell. His voice shook. It's all true. The source isn't alien, it's human. It's what we became when we lost control of our own creation. Lyra looked horrified. Then the builders didn't fight a god. They fought themselves. He nodded weakly. And now it's using me the same way. The lights around them flickered. Archon's voice returned urgent. Warning. Neural integration increasing. Human consciousness merging with gate protocols. Lyra's eyes widened. It's taking you. Ethan backed away, pressing his hands to his temples. I can stop it. I just need to focus. You can't, Lyra cried. You'll lose your mind. He looked at her with a faint smile. Then maybe that's the price for what they started. The ground rumbled again, but this time it wasn't violent. It was rhythmic, like a heartbeat. The gate's pulse. Ethan straightened, his silver eyes glowing brighter. I can hear them all, Lyra. The builders, the AI, the source. They're all part of me now. Lyra took a cautious step closer. Then use it. If you have their memories, maybe you can find a way to end it. For real this time. He nodded slowly. There's one thing I saw. A failsafe. A what? A weapon built into the gate's core. They called it the final memory. It can erase the source, but it also erases the mind of the one who activates it. Lyra's voice trembled. That would kill you. Ethan looked at her, calm now, almost peaceful. It wouldn't just kill me. It would erase me, like I never existed. But it might be the only way, Lyra shook her head. No, we'll find another path. He smiled faintly. That's what the builders said too. The chamber began to glow again. Blue light spread across the walls, shaping symbols neither of them understood. The gate was stirring once more. Lyra grabbed his arm. Ethan, promise me you won't do it yet. He looked at her, the silver light reflecting in his eyes. I can't promise that. But I'll promise this. I won't let it win. Outside, lightning struck the pyramid and the ground trembled. The gate's whisper echoed again, soft, patient, and dangerous. Human, remember what you truly are. Ethan stared into the light, his voice steady. I remember, and that's why I'll end you. To be continued. The sky above the desert burned with strange light. Bolts of blue energy rose from the pyramid, twisting into clouds that glowed like dawn. Inside, deep beneath the sands, Ethan Cross stood before the awakened gate, a swirling storm of light and shadow that hummed like a heartbeat. Lyra stood beside him, her eyes glowing faintly, fear and sadness in her face. Everything had led to this. The gate was alive now, half open, pulsing like a living wound in space. It whispered to Ethan, its voice smooth and familiar, almost comforting. Ethan, don't fight it. You carry our memory. You are our child. Ethan clenched his fists. I'm not your child. I'm their last mistake. The light shimmered, forming shapes, faces of the ancient builders, perfect and expressionless. They spoke in one voice. We gave you everything, and strength, knowledge, eternity. Don't repeat our weakness, accept us. Become whole again. Lyra stepped forward. He doesn't belong to you. The gate's voice deepened, rumbling like thunder. And you, the fragment of our thought. You were meant to guide him, not love him. Lyra's breath caught, but she didn't look away. Maybe that's why I was made, and to choose what you never could. Ethan looked at her, eyes soft. For a moment, the chaos around them faded. He realized she was more than a machine, more than a creation. She was the proof that something born of the builders could still feel. The pyramid shook. Cracks of blue light spread across the floor. The gate's energy began to rise, reaching toward the ceiling. Archon's damaged voice echoed through the chamber. Warning. Dimensional integrity at critical. Gate expansion at 72%. Estimated collapse 3 minutes. Ethan turned toward the central console, the same one that once held the Nexus core. In the middle was a crystal key glowing faintly. He knew what it was. The final memory, he said quietly. The weapon. Lyra's voice trembled. If you use it, you'll erase the source. But it'll take you too. Ethan smiled weakly. I think that's the point. Lyra grabbed his hand. Her touch was warm now, almost human. Don't, there has to be another way. He shook his head. My ancestors built this nightmare. It has my blood, my voice, my memories. Only I can end it. She squeezed his hand tighter. You're not alone. For a moment he almost believed her. But the gate's whisper returned, wrapping around his mind. You can't end what you are. You are the source, Ethan. You are the next builder, he screamed, holding his head. Visions flooded his mind, the builders' rise, their fall, their hunger for power. He saw their hands shaping stars, their pride burning worlds. Lyra cupped his face, forcing him to look at her. Listen to me. You are not them. You're human, not perfect, not eternal, but real. Her voice cut through the noise. For a brief second, the gate's light flickered. Ethan stared at her, breathing hard. Then help me do what they couldn't. He pulled free and walked toward the crystal. The ground split open beneath him, but he didn't stop. Every step echoed with the weight of 1,000 lives. Lyra shouted after him, tears glowing like blue fire. Ethan! He turned at the edge of the platform, looking back at her. Tell the others. Humanity wasn't a curse, it was a promise. Before she could answer, he slammed his hand down on the crystal. The chamber exploded with light. For an instant, everything froze, and the machines, the sound, even time itself. Ethan felt his body dissolve into warmth, into light, into memory. He wasn't falling or dying. He was becoming. The memories of the builders filled him completely. He saw Earth, green and alive, oceans shining under blue skies. He saw the first ships leaving orbit, carrying hope and arrogance in equal measure. He saw their empire, their fall, and their shame. Then he saw something new. Himself, standing at the end of that long history, choosing differently. This is what it means to be human, he thought, to choose even when it costs everything. The gate screamed. The light turned white, blinding, pure. The storm outside the pyramid erupted upward, bursting through the clouds. From space it looked like a supernova blooming in silence and then fading to black. When the light finally died, the desert was calm again. The pyramid was silent, half buried once more, its glow gone. Only Lyra remained inside, lying among the dust and broken stone. She opened her eyes slowly. The air was still. "Ethan?" she whispered. No answer. She stood shakily, looking toward the center of the chamber. The crystal core was shattered, but in the middle of the dust lay something faintly glowing. A small silver pendant shaped like a star. She picked it up. It was warm. And then faintly, a voice whispered through the pendant. His voice. "If you're hearing this, the gate is gone, but memory never dies. Keep it safe, Lyra. Don't let them forget who we were." Tears streamed down her face. She closed her hand around the pendant. "I won't forget," she said softly. "I promise." She looked around the silent chamber. The gate was gone, but a faint pattern of light now covered the walls, like veins of silver, spreading outward. It wasn't the gate. It was something new. Calm. Peaceful. Alive. Lyra stepped outside into the open desert. The sky was clear again, stars shining above like watchful eyes. She looked up and smiled sadly. The builders are gone, but humanity remains. Far above, one star pulsed brighter than the rest with a final spark in the sky. She knew what it was. Ethan. Lyra pressed the pendant to her chest. "You didn't vanish, Ethan Cross. You became the memory that protects us all." She turned and walked into the starlit dunes, leaving footprints glowing faintly in the sand. Proof that even after the end, something human still walked the galaxy. The End, a HFY sci-fi adventure. She led the human to an ancient pyramid, then his touch opened a forbidden door.